Boy, Creator is... this is actually the first time we're casting him tonight, but he is, of course, one of the favorites in this group. Was a big name coming into the open brackets. Can he be stopped? I mean, he was knocked down. I believe he was knocked down by a laser. A laser had the run of his life in Group D. And we'll see how he fares here. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Altitude, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos. It is Creator. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, going for the 15 hatch. You'll love to see it. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. Here we go. So the goal here of the 15 hatch is to be able to get your natural base on location and to make sure that this probe doesn't force you to take the unnatural natural here at the third base location instead. So this is going to be a 15-15 opener. It is going to be a hatch pool. The gases are... Oh no! Oof. The gases are going to be delayed as Mixu does accidentally pull his drones together. Maybe a little bit nervous here against his opponent. Aye. Outside of that, a solid start here from Mixu. There we go. Spawning pool is thrown down. So again, the disadvantage of this opener is that you do have delayed link speed or delayed gas in general and anything that comes from the gas. But at the same time, link speed isn't the most important upgrade here in ZVP. The Zerg player is typically a lot more defensive early on, relying on queens and links to keep up with adepts. But again, link speed isn't really a determining factor of that. So we can delay it. Meanwhile, back at home, Creator is going for a gate expand. Everything's looking quite normal here from Creator. And this is where we get to talk a little bit about Creator and his playstyle in a PvZ. We talk about this all the time, and it is going to be applicable on Altitude, of course, largest map in the map pool. Creator is a very quirky player. He's very similar to Showtime. Showtime is very defensible. Showtime intentionally delays his Twilight Council. He delays Blink. He delays Charge. He delays a lot of upgrades in favor of a more robust army with Immortals, with Archons, with this death ball of a ground toss army. And he's very defensive until he's solidified himself on 4 bases. Then he pushes out. Creator is very similar. It's very similar in that respect. So he should still go for an Oracle opener to harass and do some economic damage. But behind it, he typically goes for a faster Forge and Robo and a more delayed Twilight Council. But we'll see. We'll see what he goes for this time. As Creator is a very unique Protoss player in Korea compared to the others that are all a lot more aggressive and they all go for the Hero opener. I'm talking about a Hero, Classic, Nightmare as well. They're all a little bit more following of the meta. Creator, not so much. As the first adept does shade across the map, doesn't commit, but just getting an eye on the saturation of the natural, getting an eye on where the third base has been taken, and now he does have eyes on the third, is aware that it isn't a 2-base all-in. Meanwhile, the first Oracle is in production. Is on the way. So far, so good. I mean, Mixu hasn't quite lost too many workers. Creator, not going for a second Oracle, is going for a Phoenix next. Interesting. With this Phoenix, he's going to be able to shut down Overlords on the map. We'll see if he continues Phoenix production. If so, he could be looking for a pretty crisp timing. Phoenixes, they can do a great job at CCing and crowd controlling Queens, and allowing things like Oracles and Adepts to get out of hand and snowball. Snowball out of control. As the first Oracle does dive into the main base, we do have a stasis trap, but Mixu does spot it ahead of time. And the stasis will only catch one of these drones. Meanwhile, in the center of the map, the Phoenix has found an Overlord. Is going to shut it down. And Creator is going back into Oracle production. So again, the move that we expect to see here is that the second Oracle can meet up with the first. Phoenix can dive in, can CC one of these Queens, and the Oracles will have a lot more free reign of the mineral line, and they can get quite a lot of economic damage done. So Mixu has to be careful as the Phoenix is still hunting down even more of these Overlords. Mixu wasn't able to pull back in time. Meanwhile, we have our transition. It is going to be the Robo, the Twilight Council. Interesting. So we're not going to be delaying the Twilight Council too much. But we are prioritizing the Robo over the Forge, which is interesting. Right? Again, that's typically how or the current meta of PvZ revolves around the Twilight Council and Forge timing. As they come together, we can get into +1, we can get into Blink. But we are going to be delaying. We're going to be delaying it here for Creator. Show us the Templar Archives. Oh, there we go. Charge on the way. There's that Templar Archive. So it is going to be Charge on Archon from Creator. And he's usually one to commence Immortal production earlier on, but no, he's going for the Prism. So, second Templar Archives accidentally gets thrown down. But what Creator is going for, he's going for an off-timing Archon drop. Because it's a little bit later than normal, it can do a surprising amount of damage. Really can. The second Templar Archives is a mistake. Don't worry about it. Don't worry too much about it. As so far these Oracles haven't found too much economic damage. Ling's trying to go for a counterattack. They're trying to vie for map control, but with these Oracles and Adepts, they should be cleaned up. There we go. The Prism is moving out. Unfortunately, Creator didn't notice, and both Templar Archives will finish up. But the Prism is arriving, and we should be warping in a wave of High Templar. There we go. The Archon drop is upon us. And these Archons, they don't just hunt down Overlords, they can also get into Mineral Islands. They can actually trade very well against the drones. They can trade well against the Queens and Roaches. This is just a way to give Creator breathing room while he sets up back at home. As he's just working on his production. We have the Bay on the way. We have the Forge finally on the way as well. With that Bay, it looks like Creator, he's not going for Immortal production early on. He's going to be either diving straight into Colossus or Disruptors. Here we go. With the help of this Phoenix, can we take down the Queen? We can get one Queen. We trade a Phoenix for a Queen. A rough trade for Creator. As he is being forced back. Mixu doesn't lose too much. The Master Roach army has been spotted. Creator is making a safety Void Ray. Oh, did I say safety Void Ray? Nah, mate. We have a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon on the way. Creator is taking up all the way into Skytoss. Now, again, this is such a greedy way to play. If you're wondering, Creator doesn't really have an army. He has 8 Zealots and 2 Archons. The Archons that are harassing. Like, Mixu has almost double the army supply right now. Creator is being so greedy by taking up this heavily. He's been skipping warp-ins. He's been skipping unit production in favor of just being so greedy. Mixu, does he recognize that though? Does he recognize like how vulnerable his opponent is? Because if Mixu doesn't make use of this Roach Ravager army now, then Creator, the Stack Defense is going to kick in, his Void Rays are going to come out, his Carriers are going to come out, like Creator is going to be able to get away with murder. Oh boy. And the dead person is going to be Mixu. Ay. As Creator's going to be threatening with these Zealots. Again, he's just buying time. He's distracting the army. Mixu has finished droning. He's at 84 workers. Pretty solid worker count. We have Ling Bane in production. Mixu, mate, we got to pull the trigger soon. Meanwhile, looking at the army, we have 3 Zealots. We have 3 Zealots, 2 Archons, and 3 Oracles. And oh, we are forcing Mixu back. Again, Creator has nothing. He has nothing back at home. But the 1 Void Ray and the Oracles are forcing Mixu back. Mixu has maxed out. The first Carrier is in production. Disruptors are on the way. We have 2 Disruptors. If these Novas connect up. Oh, the Biles take down the Void Ray. Let's go. Oh no. Oh, a massive Nova goes off. A second Nova goes off as well on the Ravagers. Mixu, he's busting into the natural base. There are no more Disruptors left. The Banelings are rolling on in. Mixu is breaking the army. He pulls back from the natural. He's headed towards the 3rd base instead. Void Rays are being pumped out as we speak. He gets the next Disruptor. Overcharge is popped. A lot of workers are going down. The entire mineral line essentially goes down, but Creator is forcing this back. Oh, the Queens weren't able to come into play. Mixu was trying to set up a creep highway. Creator, he survives the first wave. He may have lost a lot of workers here, but that's fine. We're making carriers, and once these carriers come out, Creator will hold. Here we go. Here comes the second wave. Roach is pushing on forward. Another Nova goes off. This time it will not connect. Carrier has been revealed. The Queens are waddling on forward. Do we have a Spire? We do not. Uh-oh. Mixu's pretty all in. He's pretty committed. No Spires on the way. We don't have a backup plan. We're going for it. We're trying to bust up the ramp, but it's quite a narrow choke point. Mixu's being forced back. Creator buying more time. More carriers are coming out. Another Nova goes off. Good split. Only 2 Roaches go down. Mixu's going for the third once again. The Queens are exposed. This is the only anti-air he has. The Queens are going down. And it looks like Creator, he's holding. We only have 3 Queens. The carriers, we have 3. We have hit critical mass. Oh boy. The miles! Oh my, uno mas, papi, uno mas. We almost piled down the carriers, but alas, we do not. And Creator is forcing everything back. He's gotten away with his 4th base. He's at 72 workers, which is all he needs. He's gotten away with taking into Sky Toss. And Mixu just now throws down his Spire. Spore Forest is on the way. Mixu is not ready for this at all. He never intended for the game to go on this long. He's throwing down an Infestation Pit, making as many Queens as possible. He's scrambling for a defense. Again, Mixu, he missed his timing. He was a little bit indecisive. Part of him wanted to push into the natural. The other part wanted to push into the third. His Queens were far back as well. It took him a long time to actually have them involved. And Creator has so much momentum. The Void Rays rock up. I've seen this before. They activate their prismatic alignments and the main base goes down. 3 Void Rays is all you need. The main base has fallen. Thankfully, it wasn't the lair. Could have been worse. Definitely could have been worse. The lair is still alive. As Creator is just taking control of his side of the map. Again, his transition to Skytoss was successful. We've got +1 air attack on the way. We've got additional Stargates, Archons. Because we have so many Archons already because of the Templar Archives opener, because of the earlier, of course, Archon Harass. We have an answer for the Corruptors as well. Oh god. Can Mixu defend with Mass Queen? It's Mass Queen Spore, essentially. How many Corruptors do we have? We have 5 Corruptors, which is not going to be enough. Nova goes off. It takes 2 Novas to kill a Queen, so far so good. Mixu does tank it. As the Zealot Runby does distract him. At the same time, a Baneling Runby rolls in, but Creator is able to react in time. As he slowly works towards this 3rd base here of Mixu, another Nova does connect. Forces out more transfuses. As time goes on, Mixu is mustering up a larger army. We are now up to 12 Corruptors, soon about to have 17. But another Zealot Runby. Can we get a kill in the Nexus? Up! Oh, we just barely won't. 29 HP. We have another warp in. Creator. He wants that hatchery. He's gonna get it. Gold base goes down. The Zealot Runbys just do not stop. Meanwhile, Creator, upon seeing all these spores and queens, he respects that he isn't going to try to force his way into this triangular 3rd base. He's going to rotate around, heading towards the gold. This is really smart because the spores are out of position, but there we go. The spores do get uprooted. We're trying to rotate around as well to keep up with the Sky Toss. Not enough Zerg players do this, but again, spores can be repositioned. But do they get here in time? queens have arrived as well. Oh, but the spores are exposed, and that's a kill, not a cancel on that hatchery. Raider taking this slow at the same time. A roach counterattack. A good use of these roaches, to be fair. The roaches have kind of run out of their usefulness in this game. That's a lot of supply. Meanwhile, Creator, he rotates over towards the right-hand base. Spores are not in position. Mixu has to give up that hatchery. The spores are this is getting out of hand. The bases are falling, the spores are falling. Zealot Rumbai gets into the middle line as well. Mixu is being pulled apart. Oh, the Infestors go down without getting a single spell off as well. And without a Spore Forest, we don't really have an anchor point. We don't have a safe space to fall back to. As Mixu dives on forward, he's able to yoink one of the carriers. He's going to be able to get some of them, but the Archons are going ham here from the ground. The Corruptors can't engage. And Mixu, he just, again, he never intended for the game to go on this long. He wasn't ready for the late game. As Nervas are going off, the Queens have all gone down. GG gets called, and Creator takes game number 1. GG. Oh. Oh my god. But that was close. Like, again, Creator was being so greedy. He was being so greedy this game, and Mixu barely didn't punish him. He was building up. He maxed out on Lingbane Roach Ravager. He was setting up a creep highway. But it does feel like he hit a little bit too late. It does also feel like when he did hit, again, it was a little bit indecisive from Mixu. Whether he was trying to break the natural or the third base. It took him a long time to really get things going. And Creator, he got away with a lot. He got away with so much there. GG. GG, well played. Oh. Catching up in the chat. Sweet one. Hello, I will be back. Hello, hello. Oh boy, I mean, someone had fun that game. Someone definitely had fun. As we are diving into game number 2. Also, what happened to the chat? Oh my god. Oh, it's just someone just throwing down some copy pastas. I see. All good. As game number 2 is going to be taking place on Dragon Scales. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have the South Korean Protoss player currently leading the series 1-0, representing Team Abydos. It is Creator. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Finnish Zerg player representing Berserker Esports. It is Mixu. And we had a very unique game in game number 1. What I will say is that we probably won't see that on Dragon Scales just because altitude is so large, just because of the layout of the map itself. That does kind of lean towards certain Protoss players being able to rush into Skytoss. You can do it on altitude, you can try and do it on Ancient Cistern, you can do it on Neo-Humanity as well. Dragon Scales, just because of the shorter rush distance, just because of the tendency of something like Queen pushes on this map as well, I don't expect to see that from Creator. Not here in game 2. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he feels that confident after game 1. As Mixu is forced to take the unnatural natural. We saw last time Mixu did go for a 15 hatch. This time went for a 16 hatch. As a result, was forced out of his own natural base. So it is going to make early game defense a little bit more awkward, especially if Creator does go for Glaive Adepts, or if he goes for just his regular Oracle Harass as well. Mixu, the onus is going to be on him to make sure he's in position with his queens. Make sure he minimizes those losses early on. as that's another thing I should bring up as well. Like, I was pretty impressed. I was pretty impressed by Mixu in game 1. If you remember, the initial Adept and Oracle Harass didn't do a lot of damage at all. Creator, he killed Overlords with his Phoenix, but he didn't really get too much drone damage done. Mixu was able to, for the most part, keep up with his Queens, keep up with his Lings. He had some pretty solid early game defense in game 1. But a lot of that may also be because Creator didn't go for a double Oracle opener. If you remember, his Oracles were delayed because of the Phoenix. So maybe if he doesn't delay them, maybe he can make up for that. We'll see, as it is going to be another Stargate opener. It is going to be that Stargate coming out from Creator. Again, should be for Oracles, but as we saw last game, he's willing to mix things up, willing to make Phoenixes, maybe even a Void Ray as well. And you can't assume when Creator is involved. As the first Adept is shading across the map. Is going to be diving in between the bases. Again, just getting an eye on things. Catching any transferring workers if possible. Getting an eye on the gas count, the saturation. The tech, the lair. Make sure everything is as it should be. Oh, that's good Queen positioning onto that Adept. Creator is going to be forced back. First Oracle is on the way. And yeah, so far everything's looking normal. Everything is looking standard. Of course, everything was looking standard in game 1 as well, and look what happened. Here we go. The first Oracle has hit the field. Creator should be heading towards that third base. Lings are here to try and deny him, and they do delay the third for a couple of seconds, but the probe survives, and the third is thrown down. So Creator just going for a double Oracle opener into his third base. There's that second Oracle on the way. And this Oracle should be staying at home for a little bit longer, at least until that second Oracle shows up, and then Creator can be active on the map. Meanwhile, we can see back at home, Mixu just happily droning. We have a Spore on the way in the main. We have a Spore at the natural. No Spore at the third. We do have 3 Queens, so that's supposed to balance that out. And these Queens should be able to defend this mineral line. They should be able to, though. We'll see if they do. As the Oracles have hit the field. First one zooming across the map, dipping in between the main and the natural. Is looking to try to catch some of these transferring workers, and he does get 1. Gets 2. Does take quite a bit of hull damage. So he does die behind the main. Meanwhile, this isn't a double Oracle opener. This is going to be a triple Oracle opener. With this, we're going to be delaying the tech a little bit further. We're going to be delaying the Twilight Council. We actually go for a third gateway and a Robo. No Twilight Council at all. Not yet, anyway. Oh boy. Creator looking to be quite aggressive here with his Adepts. These are glaive-less Adepts, of course, but they still pack a massive punch. Mixu goes for the full wall off here at the natural. No entry allowed for those shades. We'll be warping another wave of Adepts. Aye. And yeah, with this army, we're going to be able to deny this fourth base. Ling's going to try and punish this, and it looks like they get us around on these Adepts, but the Oracles, they are able to support. And are we going to be able to save this hatchery? We're going to try. Oh, we allow the hatchery to finish, which means it will go down. We have transfuse, but the transfuses are not good enough. We're going to surround the Adepts, but the Adepts do shade away. 1 Oracle did fall, but for a 4th base, for an entire hatchery, well worth it for Creator. Very nicely done. Back at home, we finally have the Twilight Council on the Forge. We're getting into +1 and either Blink or Charge. But again, that was all delayed in favor of all of these Adepts. And again, so far, a good start for Creator. Meanwhile, Mixu heading towards his double Evo chambers, heading towards Roaches as well. Especially after game 1, I'm sure Mixu wants to be a little bit more attentive when it comes to his scouting. He does have Overlord speed on the way to help with that. Oh, as Creator dips into the main base with a bit of a slow lot drop. Huh. Not something you see too often. But the drop is going to be pushed away. Charge is on the horizon. There's a Templar Archives as well for Charge or Archon. Makes plenty of sense. Immortals on the way to help out against those roaches. And again, the Immortals are kind of required, especially because we're not going for Blink first. And this is very Creator. Again, Creator, he does typically go for this more solid ground army. Last game, we didn't really get to see this too much. He had the tech for it, but he saw an opportunity to race into Skytoss. So here we go. The 3 Oracles do join forces. It looks like the 3rd Oracle was actually remade. The Spore isn't done. The Queens are out of position. Ay, ay, ay. We are getting a lot of worker kills. What was that? 5, 6 workers going down. Spore just wasn't done in time. Meanwhile, this Prism is just waiting for the moment when charge finishes, and then we can dive in. Go for a drop. And yeah, Creator has been able to keep up with the economy of Mixu. I would say that even right now, Creator has the better economy compared to Mixu. Mixu hasn't really been able to do too much counter damage. Adepts do shade on in, but they're not going to find any damage. A Drop Lord was morphed, so Mixu can go for a drop across the map as well. As the Overseer dives in, getting a scout, seeing the gateway explosion, confirming the lack of Skytoss, which I'm sure Mixu can breathe a sigh of relief. Even as changelings here on the low ground, as we have double Robo production for double Immortal production. My god! Yeah, and Creator does this quite often. Just mass Immortal. That's why he's so unique. Compared to like Hero, compared to Creator. Sorry, compared to Classic. Aye, aye, aye. You don't want to be a roach. Oh boy. Oh my god. That's unfortunate we didn't quite have enough files, but we almost take down both those Oracles. Meanwhile, the Prism comes in. Charge is done. The Zealots get into the mineral line, and oh my god. So many drones are going to be going down. The Prism even barely survives as well. And I'm a little bit concerned. So Mixu, he sees this with the Changelings. He knows about the Mass Immortal. Typically against Mass Immortal, we would be transitioning into Lurkers. Oh my god, he takes a massive stasis to the face. The army's been spotted. The creep highway has been confirmed by Creator. He's getting ready to defend. Storm is done, by the way. Massive storm on those roaches. And pushing into all these Immortals is going to be so difficult. Meanwhile, we did have a drop into the main base, but the links are being cleaned up. We did have a warping available. Mixu looking for another way in. Oh no. Up! Oh, as he takes another massive stasis to the face. Not like this. Bailing's ahead for the mineral line. The probes are pulled in time. We do have a storm available and... Oh, we don't. Yeah. The Bailings, they crash into one Archon. The Archon does survive. Oh, another stasis goes off. Another massive storm as well. And Creator is just picking this army apart. Oh my god. At the same time, he warps in Zealots across the map. GG gets called. It's just too much. And Creator takes the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god. Mixu was so committed with his push. Bringing the Queens as well, maxing out on Lingbane Roach Ravager, but at every turn he was slowed down. Creator also seeing it ahead of time, had his Immortals in position, High Templar, Storm as well, and the way that Creator engaged as well was just brutal. It was it felt almost like clinical. He was just picking apart the army left and right, trading so incredibly efficiently. On top of that, even having the room to go for a Zealot counterattack as well, crippling the economy of Mixu, winning on both fronts. GG. Very well played by Creator. Very well played. And with that, Creator advances on into the next round to face off against a player that we've already seen. He's going to be facing off against Petite Drogo. We saw Drogo take down Trigger 2-1 in a PvP against Trigger. We saw Drogo advance on, and he advances on to face Creator. Let's go.